Hey everyone, my name is Daniel Francis. I'm the creator of the Master Your Stutter program. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the 5 reasons you should public speak if you stutter. What I mean by that is mastering public speaking, mastering the art of being able to go in front of a crowd and speak in front of an audience. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet and turned on your notifications, be sure to do that. I appreciate it a lot and it makes this channel grow. So let's get into the 5 reasons why you should learn to public speak. So number 1, I just want to give you some background of myself. You know, I've stuttered my whole life. Since I was a kid, again, it's genetic in my family. I was in a position where I didn't know what to do. And I remember when I was 21 years old, I saw this public speaker come to the front of the room. I was in university at the time, and he was the same age as me, and he came in, and for 35 minutes, he spoke, he explained what he was doing, stories, he explained the opportunity, and basically his whole life. And I was so blown away, and I was so inspired, and I said, wow, if I could do that, my life will never be the same. And then when I was 21 years old, it was like the lights went off in my head, and I realized this is what I needed to do. And fast forward about 6 to 8 months later, I learned that skill, and I was actually speaking on stage in front of 1,000 people. And it was one of the most invigorating, one of the most craziest moments of my life. And I realized ever since that day, I could never go back to the old version of me. And if you are struggling with stuttering, whether you're 15 years old, whether you're 50 years old, it doesn't matter. Public speaking is the secret to really mastering your speech and truly overcoming any communication hurdles. Now, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons. So, reason number 1, you're taking the theory and you're putting it into action. If you really wanna master something, there's a formula that I live by. It goes theory plus action equals success. And you know, when a lot of people, if you're really watching this video right now, I'm sure this might not be the first video that you've watched when it comes to mastering communication or bettering your speech or learning how to just articulate your words better. And what public speaking does is it takes all that theory, it takes all that knowledge, and it puts you into a position where you got to speak in front of people. And you can't really do that, you know, just with like a one-on-one conversation or just socializing with a friend or family member. To really learn how to public speak, you got to do it in front of an audience. So reason number 1 is you're taking the skills you learned, because we both know you know a lot. You got a lot of theory, you got a lot of knowledge in your head. When you actually say, you know what, today I'm gonna go public speak. Right now, I'm gonna find public speaking communities around me. Right now, I'm gonna practice a presentation and I'm gonna go do it. You're taking that theory and you're putting it into action. So that is tip number 1. Number 2, you know, I learned this, and I wish someone told me this at an even younger age, but public speaking, it just makes your life so much easier. Let me explain. When you can public speak, you take that skill and it starts getting applied to every single other aspect in your life. Let me just say that one more time. When you learn how to public speak, you create this identity, which I'll be talking about next, but you create this persona and you create all these skills, and they start getting applied into your social life. They start getting applied into your workplace. They start getting applied to every single other place in your life. And what I want to say is when you can learn to public speak, you really become a natural leader. You really start to develop that leader within you. And let me explain this. To become a manager at your job, to become someone who's more confident in front of other people, to get promoted, you got to be able to speak in front of an audience. And again, if you stutter and you're struggling to articulate your words, if you learn to public speak, every other aspect of your life becomes easier. You know, they say public speaking is one of the biggest fears that someone has. And I believe the second biggest fear is being burnt alive or something crazy like that. So if the number 1 fear is public speaking, just think about that. If you can master public speaking, every other aspect in your life becomes easier because you handled one of the biggest fears that people go through. So if you learn this, a whole new person will come out of you. Now, let's go into number 3, identity. A new identity is really going to be formed. Because if you think about it, the current version of you might be nervous of public speaking. And maybe you've done it before because you had to in school presentations or at work, but I'm talking about mastering public speaking. I'm talking about really owning it. I'm talking about being able to get on stage, getting in front of people and just speaking your mind and your words and articulating how you feel, getting an audience engaged and mastering that. And people, coming at you at the end of your speech and saying, wow, that was awesome. Let me shake your hand. Wow, I am so inspired. Wow, that was phenomenal. Think about that. If you went from who you are right now to that version of you, think of the new identity you'd have to become. Think about the eyeballs. Think about the attention. Think about your relationships with others. Think about if you want to get promoted at work. Are they going to promote the confident, the one who gets the job done, the individual who just knows how to get in front of a group and speak with ultimate confidence, or the person that's shy? They're quiet, they're reserved, they don't want to share too much, they look insecure, they get embarrassed easy. They're going to be promoting the person with the strong identity. And that's why if you stutter, the biggest thing that you could do is master the art of public speaking. Because once you go there, and I'm speaking from experience. When I went on stage, and I'll talk about this in number 5, and my confidence went to a whole new high, I realized I could never go back to the old version of me. That identity is gone now. And before that, I read the books, I watched the YouTube videos, I went to speech therapy. I did all these different things, but nothing really had such a big impact on my life until I went on stage, I public spoke for about 40 minutes, and I realized, I said, wow, this is my new world. So I hope you're really getting that, because once you learn this, you can never go back. Okay, we'll go to number 4, confronting words. What do I mean by that? Well, confronting words is everyone who stutters, everyone who stumbles or stammers or has trouble communicating, there's words that they block on, meaning like they'll block on or mess up or not be able to get out exactly what they want to say. And, it's very easy to start talking in a social setting, block, and kind of go, almost like a turtle, go back into your shell. It's very easy to do that because you're like, okay, never mind. I shouldn't talk anymore. This isn't going well, blah, 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 blah. But when you're on stage, guess what? If you got a 15-minute talk, you got to keep on talking. You can't go back. You got to do it now. You got to keep moving forward. And you could find maybe different words, meaning like if you can't say the word strong, you might say power, right? So people who stutter, you switch up words because some words are difficult, some words are easy. But I want you to understand, when you're on stage and you have to say that word, you're confronting these words. You're confronting the things that scare you, the things that petrify you. And when you are given a mic, or when you are given the platform to speak in front of a room of people, you got to say those words. And again, you can watch YouTube videos. You can watch, you can read the books. You could practice with, your cat, Sally. But when you get in front of a room of people and you start confronting these words, and guess what? At the beginning, you're going to suck. But when you keep doing it over and over and over again, sooner or later, the word apple, you can say it pretty easy. The word bumblebee might have been a hard time before. The word silver might have been difficult. But now that you're in front of a room, you got to start mastering your breath. You got to start mastering your body language. You got to start mastering, your attitude. And this is all done not from the comfort of your room, but speaking in front of an actual community, an actual crowd. So I hope this is making sense. And finally, one of the best, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it's almost like a drug. So if you talk to any public speakers, they call it the speaking high, or in sales, they call it the sales high. It's like when you make a sale or you get a new customer, or if you're in business and someone joins your program, it's like a high. It's like, woo! You're like flying. And it's like a natural free high. And what this high does is it enforces this belief in you that I can do this. I can become better. And I'll tell you about me. When I did my first presentation was in my parents' basement. There was about 8 people, and I practiced a 40-minute presentation for, I would say, what I did at the time, I had a 40-minute presentation. I memorized all the slides and I literally wrote out word for word my speech. And I practiced that speech, no word of a lie, probably about 150 times. And what I would do is I would grab my iPad and I would record myself and do it over and over and over and over and over again. I was so nervous because I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to stutter. I didn't want to block, because I knew if I did that, I would embarrass myself and my friends, and I still want to do that. So I practiced day in and day out. So I did that, and when the day came, it was like a Saturday at 12 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, I'm finally here. They all came downstairs. They sat, on a couch, and I was the person in front of the room. And 40 minutes later, it was like it's like I blanked out. I don't even know where I went. So it's like I went to a new world, and time just kind of flew, and 40 minutes was done, and I looked up, and I saw smiling faces everywhere. And I realized I did a really good job. And I had other friends that kind of came up to me and they shook my hand. They said, wow, I'm blown away, man. You're the man. Like, you are the man. And before that, I didn't believe that. I thought I was the stuttering, shy kid who no one really likes hearing. But I did that speech, and it was like this voomp. And I realized it was like a video game character. I unlocked this new level within me. And I did that, and my confidence, like, there's no better feeling than you doing a speech and a whole audience just clapping. Like, you did amazing. You can't beat that. And what I'm telling you by my last point is this: if you really want to master your speech, master your ability to communicate, you can't do that in the comfort of your own bed. You can't do that in the comfort of just your family that you grew up with. You can't do that by yourself or with your cat Sally or your dog Tom. Okay, Tom and Sally, I guess, are your pets. I don't know, but you do that by public speaking. And what I want to tell you, and I'm living proof, if you want to be able to speak with confidence, if you want to become the best version of you, you got to do it by learning to public speak. By getting outside of your comfort zone, by practicing, by getting your attitude on point. And guess what? You do it, you might suck, and then you do it again, you get better. And then you do it again, you get better. And then sooner or later, you don't even have a stuttering problem anymore. You're just, this new identity is completely out of you. So again, the 5 tips, or the 5 things why you should learn to public speak is: number 1, you take your theory, you put it into action. Number 2, everything else becomes easy in your life. Number 3, a new identity is born. Number 4, you start confronting the words that scare you. And guess what? You confront these words, you're good now. That's all it really is. And once you confront the hard words, you're good. Obviously, you got to fix up your attitude, and there's a couple other things, but think about it. That's really it. And then finally, you get this free confidence boost, the sales high, the speaking high, whatever you want to call it. And guess what? Before you even know it, months later, you're a completely new person, and you'll never go back to the old version of you. So, my advice: go learn public speaking. My name is Daniel Francis. I'm the creator of the Master Stutter program. That's what my program is really all about, is learning how to public speak. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, be sure to subscribe, be sure to turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.